So this was a really huge and unexpected news update out of Hollywood this week. The Metal Gear Solid movie is back in the headlines again after years of keeping us waiting. This movie has been in development hell for so many years, as long as I can remember, going through multiple directors and the project never being able to fully take off. But now we have news from the Hollywood Reporter that Sony Pictures has signed two directors, both Zach Lipovsky and Adam Stein, two longtime collaborators that directed the recent Final Destination Bloodlines, to now direct the Metal Gear Solid movie, taking over for Jordan Vaughn Roberts, who left the project years ago. I myself didn't see the latest Final Destination movie, and I am not familiar with any of their work, which, looking on their IMDb pages, shows that they've been working since the early to mid 2000s. To be honest, I would never expect these two guys to be the choices to take over this project, but this was a really nice surprise, and I'm very happy to hear that Sony Pictures hasn't given up on making this movie, and I'm just ready to see this franchise make it to the big screen for the very first time. Longtime Sony and Spider-Man producer Avi Arad, along with his son Ari Arad, will also be producing this film as well. If I had to guess, I would say Avi Arad is maybe the person that has continued to try to get this movie made over the years, because he is well known to be a fan of both the Metal Gear Solid series and Hideo Kojima, and was even the one that gave the suggestion to Hideo Kojima to cast Kiefer Sutherland as Big Boss in Metal Gear Solid 5, which in my opinion was a very brilliant choice, and we got a very brilliant performance out of Kiefer. So we have Avi to thank for that. With that said, this new report doesn't say who is going to write the movie or what the target release here is. So now I want to talk a little bit about this, because bringing Metal Gear Solid to the big screen is going to be no easy task, and it hasn't been. Back when Jordan Vaughn Roberts was attached to this movie, he was going to team up with Derek Connolly, the writer of Kong Skull Island, the Jurassic World movies, and even Detective Pikachu. And looking on his IMDb page, it says that he has written the upcoming Zelda movie as well. So this guy has dipped in the video game movie writing space a bit already. And his IMDb page also shows that he's still attached as the writer for the Metal Gear Solid movie. But again, the Hollywood Reporter article didn't mention who will be writing this current version. So who knows what's going to happen now. Metal Gear Solid is my favorite video game franchise of all time. I am extremely passionate about this series, and I have fantasized about what a Metal Gear Solid movie could look like for so many years now. The 1998 PlayStation 1 game is my favorite work of all time in any medium of entertainment. So I just want to give my 2 cents on what I think should happen with this movie. As things stand right now, we don't know if Hideo Kojima himself is going to be involved with this at all. If I'm not mistaken, when Jordan Vaughn Roberts was working on this movie, I believe Hideo had already left Konami, and Vaughn Roberts was meeting with him to talk about it in Japan. I could be wrong. These meetings might have still been taking place in the final months, in his final months with the company. We don't know if Kojima is going to be involved this time around, officially or unofficially behind the scenes. But I really hope that these two directors do try to meet with him to have calls or discussions about it. But we really haven't seen Kojima be involved with the current revival of the series with Konami. So again, who knows what's going to happen. But I'm sure Avi Arad and Kojima both have to still be in contact with each other. After all, Kojima is developing the new Metal Gear successor, Physint, at the Sony Pictures studio lot. So we will see. Whether Kojima is involved or not, as a die-hard fan, I strongly believe that David Hayter, the voice of Solid Snake himself, should be brought on board as a writer for this movie. For those who may not know, David Hayter wrote what many people consider is the best X-Men movie in the franchise, X2, and he also wrote a screenplay draft for the 2009 Watchmen, two of the greatest superhero movies of all time. Hayter is a very capable writer, and I believe nothing would bring more comfort to the fans of Metal Gear Solid than to have Solid Snake himself help make sure that this gaming franchise has a successful transition to the big screen. I think the more people they can consult or bring in that were involved with the making of the games, the better the chances at this being a successful adaptation. Now the question is, which game from the series should they adapt first? I strongly believe that the first movie should be a direct adaptation of Metal Gear Solid 1 from 1998. I believe it is the most famous and the most well-known game around the world. For most fans today, myself included, it was also the entry point into the series, And if you compare this series to Star Wars, Metal Gear Solid is like the New Hope of that timeline. Jordan Vogt Roberts, who got the furthest in the development of the movie, from what he said and showed with the concept art that he was posting, seemed like he wanted to mix most of, if not all of the main games into one movie. I was speculating that maybe this could have been a similar approach to that of the 2011 movie Cloud Atlas, with multiple storylines from different points in time playing out in the same movie. That is just what I was speculating about what he wanted to do, so I'm not exactly sure how his version would have turned out. I think this would have been a wild approach for sure, but maybe a little bit too much for a regular movie-going audience to take in for a first-time experience or to be introduced into the series. The 2005 Shadow Moses incident has enough things in it to make it a very compelling and crazy action-packed movie on its own, and would offer a similar cinematic experience to that of the first Die Hard, with it being set in one single location taken over by terrorists, and also having one of the most memorable cast of characters in the history of gaming. Now comes the question of who should play Solid Snake. Many fans have thrown out a lot of different names out there, most of which I largely disagree with for different reasons. And because I believe the perfect actor is out there, we probably just haven't discovered him yet. But of course, that will be the job of the casting director for this movie. But I strongly believe that for this movie, it should be a Sinners type of situation with one actor taking on two roles. In this case, it being both Solid and Liquid Snake. And it should be someone that is going to be able to play both American and British convincingly for Solid Snake during the Shadow Moses incident. I do believe an actor that is in their 30s, no older than mid-40s right now, is needed, as David himself was only in his early 30s in that game. But if the movie is successful and they decide to fast-track Metal Gear Solid 2, we know Solid Snake kind of starts to see the effects of accelerated aging, so you can have an actor that will be in their 40s by the time Metal Gear Solid 2 goes into production. I've had a few choices of my own in mind in the past, like Garrett Hedlund from Tron Legacy, who I believe would have been a perfect fit if the movie had been made in the 2010s. I also thought Theo James from the Divergent series would have also made a great Liquid, but these actors I feel have now missed the age mark by a little bit. As I said, for the Shadow Moses incident story, it should be someone currently in their mid to late 30s, preferably. I've also seen some people suggest Scott Eastwood, which I will have to agree. It would be great to see Eastwood's son play the character, especially since his father's characters were a big influence on Hideo Kojima. But I'm just not sure if Scott Eastwood could pull off a double duty and portray both Solid and Liquid. Now I'll mention two other actors right now that I can see fitting the character really well, as examples of what I think they should be looking for. And they are John Beavers, who has recently been in the Horizon movie from Kevin Costner, and he was also in One Battle After Another recently. And the other actor is Tom Rhys Harris. I'm sorry if I mispronounced the name, but this is the actor that's starring in the upcoming Clayface movie for Warner Brothers and the DCU. So the first actor, John Beavers, if you look at him, he has the exact same eyes as Solid Snake. And I believe this is a very important feature that can do a lot of the heavy lifting in the acting. The actor that's going to play Snake needs to have both grit and the eyes of a cold-hardened killer. And John Beavers just has that in his look. The second actor, Tom, I believe also has this type of edgy look. But not just that. He is at the perfect age right now in his mid-30s, and he's British. If you look at him, the guy just looks like Liquid Snake all of the way. So I'm looking forward to see how he does in Clayface. But there are many actors out there in the world, and whoever they end up choosing, I just hope that they go through an actual extensive audition process and really try to look at many different actors so that they can zero in on the right choice, and that they don't just rush and try to get a big name just because. And that will be one of many, that would be one of many things that could go really wrong with this movie. I really want this to be the time this movie actually gets made and released. So I'll be on the lookout for further updates. I'll try to make more videos as more information keeps trickling in. Next week is CinemaCon, so hopefully we will get to hear a few more details there. So that's going to do it for now. I would really like to read your thoughts in the comments and discuss. So have a great day, and thank you for watching.